In the old city of Lüneburg, where the morning mist rolls in from ancient forests and hangs low over cobblestone streets, a child named George Augustus learned the weight of his name before he knew the shape of his own shadow. The palace where he was born stood like a silent witness, its banners faded from seasons of rain, sunlight, and war, its halls echoed with the footsteps of ancestors and the rumbles of distant cannon fire. Nights were restless, filled with tales of battles and betrayal. Yet, young George stared through thick glass windows, not dreaming of conquest, but of escape from the legacy that pressed upon him. His boyhood games were interrupted by the stern voices of tutors demanding focus, the conjugation of verbs, the intricacies of campaign maps, the delicate politics of a restless Holy Roman Empire. Early, he learned that trust was as fragile as frost on an autumn morning. Servants whispered secrets behind tapestries, and nobles bowed with calculating eyes. When his father's seal finally passed to him, making him the Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, George entered a world that never rested. He wore the ducal coronet not as a symbol of power, but as a reminder of obligation. Morning reports arrived with the chill of dawn, letters from neighboring princes, warnings from merchants about trade routes choked by bandits, petitions from clergy seeking protection or favor. Each bore the weight of a decision that could tip the fragile balance of power. George moved through his court quietly, a presence felt more by absence than by command. He listened from shaded alcoves or behind half-closed doors, studying not only what his advisors said, but also what they chose to conceal. He weighed each rumor and plea as though his life hung in the balance, for indeed it did. A careless decision could lead to war, or worse, to the slow rot of rebellion. But it was beyond these gilded chambers that George found his true education. Disguised as a plain merchant or a weary traveler, he ventured into the markets. There, in the murmurs of the crowd, he heard more honesty than within the palace walls, farmers worrying about poor harvests, shoemakers griping about levies, mothers counting coins for bread. He realized that leadership was not measured in victories or gold, but in the silent endurance of the people who paid the true price for every policy. Conflicts nevertheless found him. An insult from a neighboring state, the ambitions of a bishop, the shifting sands of imperial intrigue, any could become a spark. Yet, unlike the belligerent nobles whose names bloomed in war songs and faded in tombs, George knew caution. He chose his battles as a chess master moves a single pawn, slowly, with purpose, seeing the board several moves ahead. He lost as often as he won, but never gambled everything. His wisdom was not in avoiding risk, but in knowing which risks could be survived. Seasons turned, alliances broke and formed anew, but Lüneburg remained, a city resilient and proud. George Augustus became a name not feared, but spoken with respect. The people saw in him neither a conqueror nor a coward, but a man who understood the precarious balance between justice and survival. When the end came, it was quiet, a candle flickering out in the chamber where he had written treaties and apologies, judgments and pardons. The city mourned not the loss of a title, but of measured hands that had guided it through storms. And though the chronicles would one day consume his story in a list of dates and deeds, the spirit of his rule, a careful dance of wisdom and strength, lingered in Lüneburg's air, just as surely as the scent of its damp, enduring forests.